This is part of our Holy Week journey, a quiet walk through the final days of Jesus. This is Good Friday, the cross. It all began in the dark. While the echoes of the Passover meal were still fading, a crowd approached the garden. Judas was leading them. He stepped forward, close enough to look Jesus in the eye, close enough to greet him with a kiss. And Jesus asked him, with a heartbreak only a friend can feel, "Judas, would you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" They seized him, and in an instant everything began to unravel. The disciples scattered into the shadows. The quiet of the night was shattered by shouting and the clanking of armor. And Jesus, steady amidst the chaos, was led away. He was brought before the council, question after question, accusations that didn't stick, one after another. "Are you the Son of God, then?" they demanded. And he answered them simply, "You say that I am." At daybreak, they led him to Pilate. Pilate looked at him and found no guilt. Herod did the same. Luke tells us this over and over, as if he wants us to see the absolute innocence of the man standing there in silence. And yet, the voices in the street grew louder, drowning out the truth. "Crucify him! Crucify him!" And in the end, the shouting won. They led him away. As he struggled under the weight of the cross, they pulled a man named Simon of Cyrene from the crowd and forced him to carry it behind him. A group of women followed, their weeping filling the air. Jesus turned to them even then and said, "Do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children." Even here, with the weight of the world on his shoulders, he was still thinking of everyone else. They reached the place called the Skull. There they crucified him. 2 others were hung beside him, one on his right and one on his left. And Jesus prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing." The crowd stood watching. Some mocked, some just stared. The soldiers kept working as if it were any other Friday. But one of the men dying beside him saw something different. "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus answered him, "Truly, I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." Even now, even with his last breaths, he was saving. By midday, the sky turned a strange, heavy dim. For 3 hours the light just faded away. Inside the temple, something invisible was torn. The massive curtain split right down the middle. Then Jesus called out with a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And with that, he breathed his last. This is the cross. It wasn't rushed and it wasn't resisted. It was given. It wasn't the end of his life. It was the offering of it. As Holy Week continues, the world grows very quiet, and the weight of what has been done begins to settle into the earth. This story comes from the Gospel of Luke, a careful account of the final days of Jesus. These moments weren't written to feel like a distant tragedy, but to be remembered, understood, and lived out in the silence of our own hearts. If this journey through Holy Week has been meaningful to you, we invite you to like and subscribe and keep walking with us through the stories of Scripture with the cardinal and dove. We're so glad you're here.